Dusty Wright Show at culturecatch.com. The very lovely Tilda Swinton. Tilda.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi, Dusty.
This role, Julia.
Yeah.
Bit of a roller coaster. Redemptive, maybe.
You know, it's all in the eye of the beholder. At least, let's say, if you're thinking your life's out of control when you come out of the cinema, you'll think, well, at least it's not like that. I mean, I hope. Maybe someone might go and see the film and think, God, I wish my life was that simple. I wish my life was only about being a completely over-the-top suicidal alcoholic who abducts a child for money.
And you know, I like the fact that it was film noir style as opposed to the typical American drama. Well, it took a Frenchman to make the movie, so
it's a very French film,
yeah.
I think.
I mean, she's got to pay, right? I mean, she's unplugged. It's not even like she can go to the cops. I mean, it's the double cross of a lifetime. And in the money, it's right there. It's right there. I can smell it. And they can go anywhere they want. They can go to Mexico. They can go to Bueno Bye Bye, and we can go where the f we like.
Julia, where did you get this idea? Huh?
Nick, you know my life. You know my life. You know it. I'm so sick of it. I work like a dog, and where's the money? I mean, I don't know. It's like goes through my fingers. I mean, I don't know where. I'm tired.
Eric Zonka is a phenomenon. He really is. I mean, it's. He made one film, The Dream Life of Angels, which I think was shown here. Another film that won't have been because it was only shown on French television called Le Petit Voleur, The Little Thief. So now there are 3 Zonka films, so one can begin to see a kind of the Zonkerism. And for my money, he's a really modern filmmaker. He's very interested in a kind of documentary texture. He'll look at a character, or not even a character, it's more a person really, because he's really not interested in anything looking particularly put together, and he'll watch this person. I think of it as a zoological attitude. He's the sort of David Attenborough of feature filmmaking. He'll look at a person and he'll follow them like a dung beetle, and he'll, with this sort of amoral compassion, just look at them doing really quite despicable things like Julia does, and not judge them. You know, just keep with her, keep watching, keep revealing more and more of her predicament, but in I think a very loving way. Not there is no judgment, and that's challenging for audiences.
Well, I was going to say, there is not the traditional Hollywood character arc. You are left to decide who she will or may
You also,
become.
It's not explained either.
Right.
I mean, that's something that was very important to us. I think it's very easy to fall into the trap of explaining away. Having the idea that you can explain away somebody else to somebody. You can say, you know what, she was abused by her. Oh, right, that explains everything. Well, nothing ever explains anything, let's face it, to another person.
Well, that's true life. And again, I think we see a lot more of this with European or indie filmmakers than we do with the typical Hollywood system. Did he have you in mind from the get-go?
Well, we have a very funny history, which is that we met in Cannes at the film festival years ago, about 5 or 6 years ago.
Excuse me. Sounds like all New York is
they're
burning.
coming to get me.
This is extraordinary.
We just have to talk really, really fast, and then they'll come crashing through the door. It's swine flu. It's swine-ton flu. It's breaking out as we speak.
It sounds like they're going to be stopping right in front of this building.
He's here, officer.
I didn't mean, you know, there's a whole nother darker side to Dusty. If you only knew.
Well, I was saying that Julie was a documentary, and maybe they took it seriously. Maybe some police officer saw the film and thought it's me. Where were we? Oh, Eric Zonka and I. Yeah, we met in Cannes, and we were both in an official capacity at the festival that year. I was presenting a prize, and he was on a jury, I think. And so we both had a right to be at the closing party, and we were both turned away. And we were both really, really annoyed about this. And it became, this is where we met. We met at a door being turned away, both of us. Everybody else was allowed in, and we were, so this was our bond, that we were rejects. And we, hilarious, and we tried to get in and involved a fire extinguisher and all sorts of things. Anyway, we didn't see each other again, and I overheard a friend saying that he was developing a film for me. And I thought, that's insane. I mean, I don't know the
Just
guy
from
at
this
all.
one encounter.
From this one encounter, and I'm pretty certain he was drunk, so I don't know what he could remember. Obviously, you know, he assumed I was, so he wrote Julia. But anyway, and I think during the 5 years it took for him to get it together, he was thinking of developing it in different places. It wasn't always going to be an American story. It was
Interesting. I wondered
possibly
about
going
that,
to be
yeah.
European. He needed a border
Right.
between two places that was as extreme as the border between Mexico and the United States can be. And he looked for it in Europe and he couldn't quite see it, and eventually he settled on it being an American story. And I think there was a time when he was talking to other American actresses. There was a time when he was looking for people who, what they call, meant something. And then he obviously just got beaten down. And
The dollar, the almighty
the
dollar.
almighty dollar.
How are you going to get distribution without that?
Good Lord.
God forbid
Can't
they use
think.
an Academy Award-winning
Well,
actress.
by the way, yeah, well, strange things do sometimes happen.
In preparing for roles, and this role or any role, are you able to switch off at night, or do you carry it all the way through?
No, it's dressing up and playing, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there was a certain amount of preparation that I had to do for this part to just look convincing, because the truth is I haven't been drinking hard for 25 years, and I don't, well, you may disagree, but I don't think I, necessarily look like I have. And so I needed to, I wanted to make a different body for her, and I wanted her to feel really sort of properly wasted, and I wanted an excuse to eat a lot of pasta and chain smoke a lot, which I did.
You get to binge and purge with the roles.
It's all work.
Yeah.
It's all the preparation.
Or as Olivier said, to Hoffman in Marathon Man, why don't you just act, my boy?
Well, yes, and that is, of course, very true if you're a real actor. But I like to do the work and then play once we start shooting.
Oh, that's good.
So I just, made myself look like Julia, and then I just, stopped
Switched
working
it on.
the second we started shooting.
I loaned some money to this woman. And she's not paying me back.
Oh, girl, you need Leon.
But here's the good news. I think I have a way to stop her.
And that is?
She's got problems with her kid. Okay, she's been a bad mother, and the kid is it's supposed to go to a foster home, and she's hiding the kid. So I figured, if I steal the kid, and
Stop. Hold on a
I
second.
just want to scare her a little.
How much attention to you for?
5,000.
And
You've worked with some extraordinary directors. Are there any directors you've yet to work with?
Many.
Yeah.
They've
That
just
you
yet
like at
to
dream
ring me up.
projects that you say, God, I wish I would have been able to get an audition, or they would have chosen me for that role. Anything come to mind?
You mean films that have been made? Mm-hmm. Like A Touch of Evil?
Back when you were prenatal.
By the way, I was going to say,
You were prenatal.
When I
That's
was a
an
glimmer in my
amazing
great
movie. That opening
grandfather's
tracking
eye.
shot, extraordinary.
Oh, I'm always looking for, hoping that there's going to be a message on my answer machine that I don't have from Orson Welles around about 1940 something. No,
Conjuring up the
I'm
spirit.
totally open to offers.
And you just worked with Jim Jarmusch
Yes,
for
for the
my
second
hometown
time.
in Northeast Ohio.
Indeed.
Just coincidentally.
Right.
That Ohio
Very
stock,
good.
man, we're creative.
But you are, I have to say.
I don't know what it's like the Highlands of Scotland.
It's you know
something
what?
in the water.
It's something in it's swine flu. It's good for people.
Well, with us, it was the tire industry. We had to escape.
It's I'm trying to think if there's no tire sort of link really. Well, oil, I suppose, with the Highlands of Scotland, and of course some music, folk
Well, music, I think, in that region of the world, even when they penetrate into the rock and roll world, there's an American thing, which is the birth of our music. All of these islands.
Don't you think that? I think of Highland music. It's the like rock and roll, the folk music, American folk music. I think originally that whole bluegrass thing. It's so
Celtic. Isn't
It's so Celtic. It's all
Truly.
the same story. It's
Really.
I drank too much and she left me. What went wrong? It's
Right.
always the same story.
I think if we were to, have audience with Hank Williams and Woody Guthrie, they would agree because that's how our news was transferred, right? The bard would come into town, tell
Yeah.
us the story,
Yeah.
tell us the tragedies of the day.
And the same. I have to say that there are people in the north of Scotland, and I know this very well because I had 2 children with one of them who believed that Elvis Presley was in fact Scottish. They believed that he was from Paisley. In fact, the father of my children is from Paisley, which is a town quite near to Glasgow. And he was brought up at the time when Elvis Presley was kind of doing his thing. And so there's a whole culture in Paisley that believes vehemently that when Elvis Presley's grandfather went to America, they couldn't understand his accent. He was actually saying that he came from Paisley. And they really do believe.
I love it.
It's true.
He could be hiding out there still.
Well,
A
he
very
still
old
is.
man.
He still is.
A very old man.
No, he's not old.
Elvis is eternal. I know. I agree. Music. Do you use music at all when you're preparing for a role? Do you like to have it when you're between takes, or you consume?
Do I use music? It's like, do you use, what drug do you? Yeah, I use music in my life. I use it.
Sure,
I'm a heavy user.
Good. Intravenously. Let me see the needle tracks. Come on.
Here, zing. Big holes.
Yeah. When you, how do you determine if you want to take a role? Is it a gut feeling?
You know, I'm not big on roles, to be honest with you. I'm really big on people, and I know, because I started working in a very particular way. I was very spoiled. I started working with one filmmaker, Derek Jarman, in England in the 80s, and I worked with him for 9 years until he died in 1994. And so I learned very early that the people are what get you through, and that's what I'm really interested in, the conversation. And we would have conversations, and then we would make a film a year. We made 7 films together. And so it was never really the role, it was the conversation. Okay, let's make a film about this, and what's the film going to be? And then last on the list, I would, well, what am I going to do in it? Well, you'll play that, so we'll do that.
Completely
so
organic.
Completely organic and completely unprofessional and completely sort of pre-industrial. So I'm never one really for looking, because the truth is, the people, particularly if you're working in the independent film world, the people are what you're tied to these people for the rest of your life. You know, you first of all, it takes you 7 years to get the money to make the film, so you're seeing them every day, talking about strategies, and then you see them for the next 5 years going around the world to film festivals in Croatia and things.
Promoting.
And getting up in the morning, seeing them downstairs in the breakfast room of some B&B. You've got to like them. You've got to want to go on seeing them.
I'm so happy you said that, because I think filmmaking is getting back to that. I think with all this new technology, it's liberating the creative spirit again.
And that glorious credit crunch.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is art always survives in
Of
economic.
course it does.
And we get more creative, I think.
Yeah,
Look at the
yeah.
early 70s, the
Yeah.
creativity. I think, really it's exciting when I'm interviewing directors today. Even the big directors feel liberated by it.
And we are also living in such a blessed time technologically. I mean, the very fact that one can work digitally so cheaply, relatively. Even if you're going to make a big old, blockbuster, you can still make it relatively cheaply digitally. And I'm not against big old blockbusters. I think, the great thing about cinema is that it's so elastic, you can stretch it. But the point is, it ain't all just big old blockbusters.
No.
And I think that if audiences keep being encouraged to stretch their taste and they look at the menu and go, you know what, I don't really like that, but I don't think I've ever seen a film like that, but I'm going to go and try it, then it's all good.
Well, here's the one distinction, and James Gray and I discussed it. He said, the real shame of it is because everything is micro, we can watch it on our laptops going to and fro. But you miss the experience of the giant screen, and that's something you can't replace.
I don't think you can ever kill it either.
Yeah.
I really don't think people will ever stop looking for that collective experience, even if they think they are. I mean, for example, I'll give you an example. We all got a little nervous about the DVD originally, and we thought this is going to, the fact that one can own. I mean, I'm old enough to remember that if you had said to me when I was a teenager, you will be able to own copies of your favorite films, you can put them under your... And I'm a person who, before I ever had a record player, the first LP I ever bought was Aladdin Sane. I couldn't play it for 3 years, but I had it. I just wanted to walk around with it. I wanted that cover.
You love the cover.
Of
and the
course,
music, it's a
you know, it's my
glorious
look.
record, yeah.
But the whole idea of owning your own films and being able to see them any time of the day
Can't
or
imagine.
night is kind of unimaginable. We can do that now. We have 100 years worth of cinema just sitting there waiting for us to access very, very cheaply. And but I don't think people will ever stop looking for the experience of seeing those films with other people.
Right. Okay,
Have you, by the way, seen Anvil? This is Anvil.
No, I haven't.
Please go and see it
This
before
is
you see it
Anvil.
on DVD. It's called Anvil, exclamation mark, this is Anvil.
Ah.
It's a documentary about a heavy metal band.
Ah.
But if you see it in
But
the audience...
and it's not done as a Spinal Tap
No, it's
spoof.
real.
It's a
They're
true
real.
homage.
They are absolutely real.
And they're a UK band?
They are Canadian.
Canadian.
From
I've got to
Ontario.
see it because I love that kind of cinema.
Well, the thing is, if you see it in a cinema, you will experience something very precious, which is everybody together transforming from a kind of attitude to something else. And if you wait for it to be on DVD, you won't necessarily
Yeah,
get
you
it.
don't have the experience. I quite agree. And when I saw Spinal Tap, I saw it late at night, Times Square, and young kids walked out and said, I had never heard of that band. They completely bought into Christopher's insanity, which was great. I mean, that was such a New York moment. You know?
Well, you will enjoy
Yeah.
Anvil.
Yeah,
Are you
terrific.
shot? Where's the bullet hole? No. She doesn't know I have a gun. And anyway, what else do I do? I mean, I come to you, I say, you don't know me, I don't know you, you get in my car, I'm taking you to your mom. Would you have come? I don't think so. You don't give a You don't think about her. All she does is think about you. You think about it, you wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for her. She ripped you out of her own guts.
So what's your next project? What are you working on? Besides the next Gore Vidal project.
Well, I'm really looking forward to my start date. What I'm really working on is, funnily enough, what we've just been talking about. I'm making film festivals. I'm making little film festivals. We started making a little film festival in Scotland last summer, which kind of took off and became an international phenomenon. I rented an old bingo hall and in this little village where I live, and put on a selection of our favourite films, which were a program curated by my friend Mark Cousins, who's a film historian, and my children and I, and people came from all over the world.
That's fantastic.
And as a result, the Scottish government asked us to make a Scottish version in Beijing. We made one last month. And this summer, we're going to make another version in Scotland, a mobile version.
Well, we should do some web streaming with you.
Well,
We have the perfect center. You have to see
There
our
you go.
center downtown.
There you
Because we
go.
can do live web streaming from
wow,
our
okay.
space.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I love these microfilm festivals. They're so much more
It's
manageable,
so
aren't they?
easy, and everyone
Yeah.
should just be doing it. You know,
Right.
we're so sick of only being able to go to the multiplex, particularly if you don't live in New York City, where
Right.
you're so spoiled, you know. I mean, I've lived for 12 years now in the Highlands of Scotland. We are dependent on a multiplex, and we're just given Harry Potter endlessly, and, you know, only go so
dreadful.
far.
Well, this is good, and then we can show our children the big screen.
Well, that's
the
the
phenomenon
thing.
of the big screen.
That's the thing, and if you make it an event, if you, for example, make a dress code. So if you go to an early morning screening of Miss Marple in pajamas, you get in for
I love
free.
it.
Or if you go and see Singing in the Rain in Technicolor, you get in for free. Or, you know, if you go dressed up as a vampire to the Fearless Vampire Killers, you get in for free. Or,
Why should
or
Rocky Horror have all the fun?
by the way, then, you know, it becomes really an event. And if you show people in a small village the bitter tears of Petra von Kant, they will sit and watch it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love this
They
concept.
will sit. They will watch.
Well, Tilda, I think we're almost out of time. I want
Excellent.
to thank you for being on
Thank you, Dusty.
our show, and
My pleasure.
we hope to see you down the road
Very
in some
good.
crazy project.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Dusty Wright, Tilda Swinton, allforculturecatch.com.
Influencing the influencers. Smart culture. Culturecatch.com.